This podcast is part of the Batman Universe Podcast Network, hosted by the BatmanUniverse.net. Check out everything related to Batman and the entire Bat family at the BatmanUniverse.net, including news and original content related to comics, movies, television, merchandise, video games, and more. Also, check out some of the other unique podcasts that TBU has to offer. Consider supporting this podcast by becoming a patron on Patreon. Even $1 can go a long way in supporting this content that you enjoy. Look for a link over at the BatmanUniverse.net to offer your support now. And now, on with the show.
Hello, and welcome to the Batman Universe Comics Podcast, Season 14, Episode 21. This is your host, Ian, and I have with me...
This is Theo.
Unfortunately, Steph has been struck down by illness, so we send her our best thoughts and prayers and tea and honey and all those things to help her get better.
And drugs.
If they are necessary, of course.
Illegal kind.
Robitussin.
Hey, Robitussin is the medicine that cures all ills. Got a headache? Take some Robitussin.
It is a pretty great medicine, for sure.
Got a cut on your knee? Rub some Robitussin.
Wait, what? For real? I don't know about this one. Please do not sue us for any medical malpractice caused by taking your advice.
We are not medical professionals.
We are not. Well, I mean, technically, I am.
Well, technically we are. We both work in medical facilities.
But we're not nurses or doctors.
We're not MDs, so...
Right. I mean, one of us is working on doctors, but we're not nurses or medical doctors.
Yes, but, let me tell you, Robitussin, like I said, would cure... When I was a little boy, anything that was wrong, go take some castor oil. Uh-huh. Okay, so, yeah, Robitussin. I'll take some Robitussin, rub it on the knee, wake up the next day, bam, it's healed.
I'll have to look into that.
Don't look into it. It's not true.
Okay. We have no news today because New York Comic Con stole it all. We're still recovering from that. So we're just going to move into our review of Batman number 129. This first main story is Failstar, Part 5 of 6, by Chip Zdarsky and drawn by Jorge Jimenez. Failsafe rules Gotham City. Under its mechanical grasp, Gotham descends into a nightmare world of chaos, crime, and tyranny. Batman is in Atlantis, recovering from his grievous injuries from his last fight, under the care of Aquaman. Arthur tells Bruce that the other members of the Justice League have tried and failed to save Gotham. Batman admits that it's all his fault, all his own youthful arrogance. He gives Arthur a vital piece of information, admitting that after all these years, Alfred Pennyworth was the one who reset the activation protocols in case of any false alarms. Since Alfred is dead, Failsafe was allowed to wake up. In Gotham, Failsafe has Oracle, Barbara Gordon, hooked up to a computer, scanning for any sign of Batman. He taunts the rest of the Bat family, stored in stasis upside down in tubes. While communicating with Oracle, Failsafe deduces that Batman must be with Aquaman, as Aquaman hasn't attempted to assault Gotham yet. In Atlantis, Arthur warns his soldier of Failsafe's imminent arrival. The Atlanteans are uneasy about protecting Batman, going so far as to argue their former king about the risk. Failsafe attacks, takes Aquaman hostage, and gets Batman's whereabouts out of the Atlantean soldiers. By the time Failsafe can find Batman's hiding spot, however, the Dark Knight has vanished. Aboard the Justice League Watchtower on the moon, Batman deduces that Failsafe will destroy all transportation hubs to the Watchtower except for one, which he will then booby-trap. Failsafe gives Batman some time to prepare, but it's not enough time as an incoming vessel heads towards the satellite. The Caped Crusader gets the Watchtower to open fire, But the explosion doesn't stop Failsafe from penetrating the fortress. After raiding the armory for a new Genesis weapon, Batman fires a shot through Failsafe's outer casing. He flees before the robot can take him down, luring the machine to the Justice League transporter room. Luckily for the Dark Knight, Batman is able to lure the robot into a trap. He reverses the transporter so that everything outside of the transportation pod is sent to Failsafe's trap. There's an explosion, and Failsafe arrives in the Hall of Justice. Batman floats in space. His suit is sealed, but he has a limited time before he dies from exposure and lack of oxygen. He calls for any pods or ships to pick him up, but the robot has destroyed them already. So, how will Batman escape from space?
I think someone shows up.
But who?
Kal-El, John, someone. I mean, gotta be a lantern maybe.
Oh,
Just one.
I think Martian Manhunter would make some sense. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I said. That's what I meant when I said John.
Right, I thought so. What about Cyborg? I mean, I know you don't like him, but he could.
Oh, I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that would be done.
I think it would be neatest to have Superman do it because we've already established the bond between him and Batman in this run. But
yeah, he would be my first choice.
But yeah, I mean, I think maybe it'll be like that one issue of Flash though, where Flash falls from a plane to the ground. Batman will figure out a way to do it himself. That'd be pretty badass.
I mean, but there's only come on, he's in orbit right now,
Yeah, he'd burn up.
Yeah, I mean, he would have to figure. I mean, I know his suit is pretty tough, but to make it through the atmosphere, I think not.
So this is the second to last issue. What are your predictions for how you think Batman's going to beat Failsafe? Because we've been promised a new arc, so the battle will end next issue.
I don't know. All I know is, DC has promised that it will be unlike something we've seen before with Batman, which I'm assuming will mean he's going to destroy Failsafe in some capacity. But I don't know. I don't know how he beats him unless, he conjures up a voice of Alfred to reset everything and overload. I don't know.
Crossover with Batman versus Robin.
Jesus.
Yeah, we will get to that. We have much salt to unload about that issue.
Well, no, you have much salt about that issue.
Yes, I do. I have a lot of salt.
I still hate it, but...
So my theory is that Batman will either figure out a way to trap the robot with a logic, like a riddle that causes the brain to short circuit, or he will persuade Failsafe to join him or stop fighting. Like it'll be a mental victory and a moral victory. I don't think Batman can beat Failsafe in combat. I mean, that's kind of the whole point of the first 3 issues of this fight, because Failsafe wasn't really in the first issue, but the next 3 issues next 4 issues have all been fight.
I don't know. And again, this is just me and reading the solicits, from how the solicits read, it seems like Failsafe is no more. Here, how about this? And I know it won't happen, but how about he figures out that Oswald is actually, in disguise in Metropolis, and that's what shuts him down.
That could work.
It could work.
But I mean, the solicit
and Selena will be the one that'll tell him.
That would be cool. I mean, I think it's a little early for Selena to come back, just because I think that Zdarsky's overall plan over like several years is to bring Batman and Catwoman back together. I think that's going to be a plan. So the first arc feels really early. I think it could be that Batman fakes his own death, because the solicits do indicate that there's quote unquote no Batman. So obviously there will be Batman, but it could be he fakes his death and makes the robot thinks he won.
I can only go so far, though.
I know. I mean, obviously he won't be really dead.
Oh no, yeah. But that there makes it possible for the storyline to continue.
I mean, I think that most writers these days, I mean, if you look at what Scott Snyder did in his first arc of Court of Owls, and then Tom King with I Am Gotham, both of those stories came back at the end of the run. The Court of Owls obviously came back a lot of times, and Gotham Girl came back at the end in City of Bane in a huge way. Like, she was very important to that run. So I think Zdarsky is setting Failsafe up to be an important part of the run much later on. But I think he'll be defeated and won't show up for like a year. Or maybe Batman will be defeated and won't show up for a year. Oh no, that won't happen.
I would prefer the Failsafe story in. I mean, you're right. I mean, it's possible, with how it ends, he can come back somewhere down the line. But I really would like for it to be over with, and let's go on to the next big thing, which is probably him and Talia getting together. It's gonna happen.
Why are you just doing this because Steph isn't here?
Well, I mean, considering they got Valmont and Selena bumping uglies to coin the
remind me. Don't remind me. Oh. Are there any moments? I mean, Jorge Jimenez continues to just kill it on art here. Are there any moments that really stick out to you in this fight, underwater fight?
No, not. I mean, for me, my favorite panel or favorite page is that last page where you see Batman fall on the earth, and just in the midst of nothingness, with him, with nothing between him and the heat of the Earth's atmosphere, but the cold of space. That for me really sticks out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Jorge Jimenez always has like a great ending smash image, but that's a really good one.
Yeah, and I like his depiction of Arthur as well. I haven't always been a fan of Bearded Aquaman, but he does well here.
I still like Stjepan Sejic's Aquaman. I thought he looked great. All right, let's move on to our backup. I Am a Gun Part 2, written by Chip Zdarsky, art by Leonardo Romero. At a pharmaceutical company, the Joker holds a bunch of chemists hostage, demanding that they give him happy pills so he can find everything funny again. When the lead chemist tells Joker that the pills take weeks to work, Joker throws a bunch of bombs and blows a hole in the side of the building. Batman arrives at the scene, pushing through the fire and smoke to get to the Joker. As he rushes up the stairs, he remembers what his father said after watching Zorro. Bruce remembers Thomas's lesson about killing and how it's something heroes can't come back from. When Batman finally reaches the Joker, there's only one hostage left alive. Joker tells Batman he couldn't wait any longer, so he killed the others. He said he needed his smile back, and he lost it when he heard a rumor that some doctor broke Batman's brain. This has driven Joker mad, and he throws his own smile-shaped brand of batarangs at Batman. As Batman struggles to stop Joker, he sees his father again, except this time, his father is replaced by a still-forming Batman of Zur-En-Arrh. This new personality tells Batman that his conscience, the conscience of Bruce Wayne, can remain clean of killing, that Batman of Zur-En-Arrh can do the killing for both of them. When this personality takes over, it catches up to Joker and threatens the Clown Prince of Crime with death. So this is a fascinating suggestion, turning Bruce sort of into like a Two-Face type character. Do you think it would be true if Batman of Zur-En-Arrh killed the Joker, that Bruce Wayne would not have killed the Joker? Or do you think that's cheating?
Wait. Ask that again.
So if the Batman of Zur-En-Arrh is in control of Batman's body when he kills the Joker, would Bruce Wayne be guilty?
Is Harvey?
No, I'm saying that.
No. I'm
it's Harvey. Oh, I see.
I'm answering your question with a question. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I would say kind of, because I mean, Harvey Harvey does bad things himself too. Like it's not Harvey isn't the good one. Harvey is just the rational one, whereas Two-Face, the Two-Face side is obsessed with the number 2 and bloodthirsty. But Harvey does a lot of bad things on his own.
Well, I think if Harvey pays the price, and we know most of the stuff that happens with Two-Face as of late, up until this current run in Tech, and I don't know what's going on in Task Force C and Suicide Squad, so don't ask me. But from what Ian says, it's completely different from what we're seeing in Detective. So
they're doing too much with these villains. Like all the villains are popping up all over the place, and none of them are consistent with what they're doing.
So like right now, Harvey is playing it off. Harvey is trying to make people believe he's Two-Face when in actuality he's Harvey, and Two-Face is telling them how bad of a job he's doing. But even if someone was to say that Bruce or Batman shouldn't be held responsible for whatever tragedy that Zur-En-Arr would commit, I think Bruce would take responsibility anyway.
Of course. I mean, Batman has a very serious guilt problem, so he definitely would. So I think that, to start with, we know that Batman doesn't kill the Joker because the Joker's still alive. But I think that, at the very least, Bruce would think that he was guilty if he let the Batman of Zur-En-Arr take over and kill someone. I'm just really fascinated. I've always felt that the Zur-En-Arr concept,
especially considering, and I'm just making a whole mess of things right now. So yeah, you'll have to edit all this mess out. Okay. Especially considering there's quite a difference between Bruce and Zur-En-Arr. I mean, Bruce, Zur-En-Arr, and Harvey and Two-Face, in that Bruce has to let Zur-En-Arr out. He has pretty good control, whereas it's not. And again, not speaking about what's going on in the current arc, but just historically, Harvey has always had a hard time keeping Two-Face in check, and even right now, it's probably the effects of the asthma that's the one thing that's keeping Harvey from giving in again. So, there's that difference also. I think Bruce has a much tighter grip on the Zur-En-Arr personality, so that if once he is out and he does kill, he takes that responsibility, knowing that he personally released him to do whatever.
Yeah. So I don't think this is an escape. Like, Jason Todd couldn't persuade Bruce to become Zur-En-Arr and then have him kill villains. This is not like an out.
Although one time for the Joker might be enough.
Well, that'd be really bad if Joker got Zur-En-Arr to go killing for him. That'd be a real evil plan.
No, meaning Jason gets Batman to kill Joker using Zur-En-Arr.
Yeah. But, of course, like I said, they're never going to actually kill Joker. So it's kind of an irrelevant question.
Although it'd be fun. Nobody actually dies in comics unless your name is Thomas or Martha or Ben. Or if you're in Valiant.
Yes. But so my next question about the backup is, I think this is so interesting that Zur-En-Arr is kind of he's unformed. Like, he's not the full Zur-En-Arr yet. He's still developing that personality. Do you think that Batman will be able to put a conscience in Zur-En-Arr in this backstory?
I don't know, only because it goes against what we're seeing, or at least what we saw in the main story.
He was a darker and more brutal Batman, for sure.
Yeah,
But was
I
he
just,
interested in killing?
I'm pretty sure if Failsafe was the Joker and he felt that was the only way to end it, he would.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, he certainly didn't seem to care nearly as much about saving even the Bat family. That's kind of what snapped Bruce out of it. Yeah, so I think that maybe this is kind of where Zur-En-Arrh's going to end up, in this really dark place. It just goes to show, guys, don't deliberately induce dissociative identity disorder in yourself. All right, so that brings us to the end of our issue. Out of 5 Justice League teleportation traps, how many would you give Batman number 129, including the backup?
I give it a 4.25. Primarily because I think you're going to give it either a 4 or 4.5, and I don't want to get into mode zone. But it's just Zdarsky continues to just write a great story, and the art from Jorge just is the icing on the cake. So we're coming to the end of this first arc. So like I said, they promised that we were going to see something we hadn't seen before. Now, we've seen Bruce Wayne dead, so if the whole notion of Bruce faking his death is what they are coming out with, I'll be quite disappointed. But I am hopeful and confident that Zdarsky will stick the landing with ending us of fail-safe tyranny over Gotham.
Huh. I mean, I've heard this something you haven't seen before thing, and I was disappointed then. So I don't know. I'm giving this a 3.5. I definitely enjoyed it a lot, but the Bat family being imprisoned definitely is too upsetting for me. So I'm not quite at a 4 here. Over on the website, Scott gave it a 3.5, which gives us an overall score.
You did it purposely.
Which gives us an overall score of 3.75 and a mode of 3.5.
God.
You walked right into that one.
I did.
All right.
Steph, we need you back.
Yes, we need me back. We need Steph back, but so she can agree with me and give us more of a mode.
Whether you are a first-time TBU Comics podcast listener, a 13-year veteran, or anything in between, we'd love to hear what you think about this episode or any of the comics we discussed. Send emails to tbu@thebatmanuniverse.net. Join our Discord server linked at thebatmanuniverse.net. Send us a tweet at TBU_comics. Or, if you're a patron, leave us a comment on our Patreon page. We'd also love it if you left us a review on iTunes. We'd love to read your comments on the next episode of the Batman Universe Comics Podcast. Batman may claim he works alone, but we know that he needs the Bat family. Join the TBU Bat family and let us know what you think.
All right, let's move on to Greater Gotham. Starting with Dark Knights of Steel, number 8.
Thumbs up. Continues to be a good story. I am waiting for the ultimate battle between Bruce and Kal-El to happen. There are some things that they will need to resolve first, particularly as to why Mama L is now killing people and how they handle the Green Man, aka Joker, aka Lex Luthor. But still, all in all, thumbs up.
And I'm abstaining. Batman and the Joker, the Deadly Duo, number 1. This is the new Is this Alan Silvestri or Mark Silvestri? Mark Silvestri, right?
Mark, yeah.
Yeah. Mark Silvestri, written and illustrated comic miniseries.
I am going to give it a neutral, and the only reason why I'm giving it a neutral, and it's a neutral. No, it's a strong neutral, only because it has a lot of Batman Europa ties, or at least feels to it. You know, the notion of Bruce and the Joker teaming up to figure out, you know, who's framing the Joker, or who took whatever this is that the Joker's looking for, and which I'm assuming is some type of DNA, and how they've gone and created all of these monster Jokers. But the notion of Bruce and the the notion of Batman and the Joker teaming up to solve a mystery just gives me vibes of Batman Europa. So neutral right now. I will read the second issue just to see where it goes, but that's where it is for me.
I'm also a neutral, but I'm kind of trending down because I hate the concept of Batman and Joker working together.
Have you ever read Europa?
I have not. Partly because I hate that idea.
I think so. I suggest you read that one. Europa was really good. Like I said, you get some Europa vibes here, but I don't think I would be disappointed if Silvestri ends it on the same note. But no, I would I highly recommend Europa.
Okay. Who's the writer on that one again?
Oh, I knew you were gonna ask that. I can't remember.
Okay.
To the Google I go.
So it's a neutral trending down, but I will say the art was really great. It's a gorgeous looking book. Gotham City Year 1, number 2.
Abstain.
This is actually a thumbs up. So I think I was either a neutral or a thumbs down last issue. This was much better. I actually started to get real characterization out of the characters. Everything felt so cliched last issue. So thumbs up, improvement. Not like a enthusiastic thumbs up, but much better. And I enjoyed reading it.
But before you go, Brian Azzarello and Matteo Casilli.
Okay. Sword of Azrael, number 4.
Come on now. Abstain.
All right. I just wanted to make sure. This is also a thumbs up. I still adore the art on this one, and I really like the spiritual stuff that they're getting into. They introduced the character of Satan in this one, and it's not Lucifer. It's like super evil angel Satan. And it's fascinating how Dan Waters has brought in the new gods, technology, and Judeo-Christian mythology, but of course it's not really either of those religions because the cult of Saint Dumas is not a real religion. It's a indoctrination cult. But it's really dark, really exciting to me. I really like them exploring Azrael this way. Batman versus Robin, number 3.
I am going to give it a neutral, and I will wait until you
betrayed.
do. I'm sorry. And it's neutral because of the one part that I truly enjoyed at the end that Ian absolutely despises, which is the true final goodbye between Bruce and Alfred. And this time it actually is Alfred.
So this is so many thumbs down for so many reasons. Number 1, it sets up a battle between Batman and the 4 mind-controlled Robins, because Damian Robin is sort of in charge, and he sends out the other 4 Robins to fight Batman armed with magical items. Each of them is supposed to prompt Batman to examine himself, but the last one is Dick carrying Azrael's Sword of Sin, and Batman is just like, oh, it was a Sword of Sin. I don't actually have to feel guilty about any of the wrong things I did to the Robins. So go jump in a lake, Mark Wade, right now. And number 2, we knew from last issue that Alfred was not Alfred. Or, well, we knew that he wasn't really back. We find out in this issue there was like a piece of his soul, which is nonsense. There's no such thing as pieces of souls.
Says who?
Says me. And I hate it when writers promise something that I want and then take it away. It's like Charlie Brown and the football, and I hate it. I hated it with the wedding that Tom can dig. I hate it with Alfred. I hate it whenever someone does it. It is what I hate almost most, except maybe captivity narratives in storytelling.
Wait, did Mark Waid promise that Alfred would be back?
That's what the story promised, with Alfred being back.
Well, technically he was. Part of him was.
Right, but then they took it away. That is a Lucy in the football move, and I do not forgive it.
So let me just say, so Ian and I had, and Scott joined in on this as well. Scott and I were more on the same page. Had a in-depth conversation about not this issue, but this part of the issue with Alfred, not Alfred, but Alfred coming back. And as me and Scott was saying, this was probably a more touching way of bringing closure to Bruce after the death of Alfred. Ian was of the opinion that JT covered it during City of Bane. City Bane, right? Yeah.
No, Joker War.
No, Joker War. No, Joker War. City Bane is Tom King thing. But he really didn't. I mean, Bruce was basically in his own delusion, whereas this was actually Alfred speaking to him and telling him, "Hey, son, you are not at fault. Don't blame yourself. I know you don't blame Damien. Let me go. Everything's all right. I knew what I was getting into." And that was touching. Again, and I am saying this as someone who has hated this series, and just like all of the other series, it looks like Damien is about to redeem himself again. And then him and his dad are going to team up to take down the bad guy, or at least try to take down the bad guy. And it all sucks. But that moment with Bruce and Alfred at the end, saved this issue from being a thumbs down for me, because again, it allowed true closure for Bruce compared to what happened during Joker War.
I just did not feel the need for closure because for so many reasons. Number one, I did think that we already sort of had this closure, and I agree it's different to have Bruce's hallucination and Alfred's piece of soul, which again is nonsense. But Alfred is going to come back at some point, so we don't need closure.
In this universe, though, we do.
We don't need closure. Batman is still going to be sad. Batman's never not going to be sad.
True, no lie be told. But I think, again, having closure allows him to move on without that guilt.
Well, maybe it will be something that allows him to have an emotional breakthrough so he can reach Damien through the demon mind control. I can see that. I don't have to like it.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell Damien's already about to break that, considering the conversation he had with the pig. And I can't remember where the pig showed up before, but it was obviously in something I wasn't reading.
Probably World's Finest.
Okay. As I said. But
I'm not reading it either.
Yeah, we don't need another Batman and Robin versus Robin, especially considering it looks like it's going to end along the same note as every other one. Damien finally coming to his senses. I mean, we almost had that in Shadow War when he was determined to kill whoever killed his grandfather, and his dad wasn't getting in his way, and he should have listened to his mom all along. And yeah, we got another Batman versus Robin, and we got out of it quicker than we've done before. But now we're coming right back to another Batman versus Robin that we don't need, we never need, because we've done it and we've seen it all before. And
it wasn't great then.
Yeah, and just because it's supposed to lead to the next big event, there's so many other ways it could have happened without having father and son go at it yet again. Because it kind of makes Bruce look stupid. Yeah. Considering the fact, he's not going to really fight his son back, and he's going to just sit there and take it and take it and take it until enough. And then, he'll slap him around a few times. But by that time, Damien has come to his senses, and we get to go back to the way things are.
Yeah, and I also really don't like the fact that both in this title and in Tim Drake Robin #3, which has not come out yet, but the cover sort of reveals what's going on. You have one member of the Bat family fighting the rest of the Bat family. And this feels like Marvel. Like, I don't read any Marvel right now, and haven't for a couple years, because everything seems to be heroes fighting heroes. It's not heroes fighting villains. And I'm not into that. I don't want the Bat family to fight each other. And having two stories doing that in the same month, I don't like it. I'm not interested in it as a concept, and I don't think execution justifies it.
Only Marvel book I'm reading is She-Hulk, and she's bumping uglies with Jack of Hearts. So,
but does she fight other heroes, or does she actually fight villains?
Villains.
See, that's legit.
See, and technically, her and Titania are actually best friends now, so they have Fight Club.
Nice. All right, Urban Legends #21.
So I missed the one issue that you spoke about. So, but I am going to actually give this a neutral. One, the art was pretty good.
Yeah, but the art was really good. Except for the story you didn't read.
Oh, well, see, all the more reason it's a neutral. But some of the stories were pretty good. And, again, off mic, Ian and I, discussed the Renee Montoya story, which I really had a decent time reading, considering, the story plot. But yeah, for me, it's a neutral. Overall, the series still suck. I'm happy it's coming to an end, but this one wasn't as bad as the others have been.
So there's 4 stories in this Urban Legends. The first one's The Wheelman of Gotham, a one-shot written and illustrated by Michael Cho, and the art is just gorgeous on that.
Yes.
Survivor's Guilt, which is about Renee Montoya. Arkham Academy, and that's the one that Theo didn't read, and I really didn't like the art. Art really reminded me of Riley Rossmo, but it wasn't even as good as Riley Rossmo. And then there was a part 2 of 4 of a weird story where Thomas and Martha are back. So I would say that the first and last stories are actually pretty good. They're not good enough to justify this anthology's existence. They are stories that could have been backups in other books, rather than be in their own anthology.
Are you okay with in the last story? Are you okay with time travel being the reason that they're back?
I mean, that does seem to be what's implied, but I don't know for sure. I just felt that it had decent emotions and art.
Yeah, and I loved I ain't gonna say love, because again, it's a crappy book. But I enjoyed the interaction between, particularly Thomas, Martha, and Damien. Damien always seems to bring life to a story, and he's just point blank. Yeah, Alfred may trust you, but my dad and we don't trust you as far as we can throw you.
Yeah, I thought that was a really interesting dynamic, and I definitely enjoyed the nod to, when Damien meets Bruce himself with "I thought you'd be taller." I really didn't like the middle two stories. The Arkham Academy story was just, I hated the art, and I don't like villain stories, so it's just really not for me. And the Renee Montoya story, we could get into a long philosophical and political discussion, but that's not really what I want to do. I just don't think this is a story. I felt this was a lecture, and there's just so much talking, and I didn't think it was well crafted.
I mean, but that happens. That happens in comics, especially when these social justice themed books, stories, graphic novels, what have you, are out there. You're going to get lectures. I mean,
I don't like it no matter what side. I mean, I've read plenty of more conservative type comics where they do the exact same thing, and it's just a bunch of talking.
Yeah,
I don't like it. I don't like it no matter which side's preaching at me. It's not a story. If I wanted to listen to a lecture, I'd be listening to podcasts. I wouldn't be reading comics.
And you should listen to this podcast, folks. Always.
Wait, are we talking about this current podcast that we're making right now?
Yes.
Of course they should listen to this podcast. We're great.
Yes, and you should go and find all the issues. Just go all the way back and start over again.
Yep, 10 years ago, when none of us were on the podcast.
Or you can just pick up when we all get on.
Or that, Let's see, we started in 2020, right?
12?
No, 2020.
No. Season 12.
Yeah, so I think that...
At the latter part of season 11, I was part-time, but I came on...
You came on full-time in June, I want to say.
Something like that. Definitely 12.
Yes. All right. So I was neutral on Urban Legends.
How about that? Y'all mark this down. We're both neutral on Urban Legends.
It doesn't justify how much you have to pay for that book, though.
Oh, nothing justifies the
that
cost.
Book is expensive and it's such a pain.
I mean, I know we got more page count per story, but the fact that thing is still $10 for 4 stories is not no bueno. No bueno at all.
All right. Batgirl's number 12.
You waiting for me to say something?
I mean, I assume you're still abstaining.
Of course I'm abstaining. Folks, look. Take it from me. Do not, unless there's a cover that looks wonderful.
There is a cover that looks wonderful this week.
Is this the issue where they swap roles?
No, that's the annual. That's in 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. So Steph is still missing?
No, Steph is missing in January.
Oh, okay. See, as you all can tell, I know nothing about what's going on in this book other than what I see in the solicits. And so...
But the cover this week is the 90s Rewind, and it's Steph on a motorcycle, and it's an homage to her first appearance in Detective Comics, and it's awesome.
Big whoop. I might get the Dan Moore cover.
Is that this month? I thought that was next month.
I think it's next month. Is that?
Yeah, I think it's next month.
Yeah, because he's doing the opposite one for Nightwing as well.
Right, and I'm pretty sure that's next month.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, because the variant cover this month is Audrey Monk. Plus but the cover I'm talking about is the 90s Rewind variant. So that's a really fun little series they're doing right now.
No, just do Dan Moore on all the covers.
Or you could just be like me and thumbs up this book and buy every issue.
No.
The new Golden Age #1. So this is a one-shot leading into JSA and Stargirl by Jeff Johns and a billion artists. Oh, that was another thing that I hated about Batman vs. Robin. Like, they advertised the Batman vs. Robin book as being by Mahmoud Asrar, But instead, we get like 2 fill-in artists on this 3rd issue. Like 3 issues in, and we've got fill-in artists. What is going on?
Okay, so before I read the issue, the folks that read it caught me again, because you know how they happen to spoil stuff.
Why are you reading Reddit for spoilers, though?
I don't read Reddit for spoilers. I had no idea that this was a Batman related book, or at least this issue was Batman related.
It definitely is.
It most definitely is. And see, I lost my
Spoilers
train.
in a bad way.
And I don't like the depiction of, I mean, Bruce and Selina. I mean, Selina seems like she's ready to just go into straight domestic abuse on Bruce.
Yeah, and she wears this really weird white boob shirt, and I'm just like, you have a 12-year-old daughter, why are you wearing this?
You know, but the point I wanted to make about Reddit, and it was actually a good point, and it was that Jeff Johns seems to write his best when he had Dan Didio opposite of him, because this writing is just all over the place.
It's messy, self-indulgent, and pointless.
And yeah, and I can't remember the user who made that comment, but he was absolutely spot on. It was just confusing and just clutter and all over the place. And like I said, I don't like this depiction of Selina and how she just seemed ready to go full domestic violence mode on Bruce while Helena is listening to it all. Of course, she's in her room, so she can't see what they're doing, but she can surely in the hell hear it. And yeah, thumbs down.
Also, thumbs down. No.
No. Is he doing the JSA book too?
Yes, unfortunately.
Yeah, I won't be picking that up.
And finally, Batman Incorporated #2.
Thumbs up. If anything, it would probably be neutral, but it's still a neutral trending up. I am still digging the art.
Yeah.
I do have some concerns that this is Batman Inc. in name only. That you could just rename this The Incorporated or Ghostmaker Inc. and it would be the exact same story. It's Batman Inc. simply for the fact that it's, some of the original characters from the first 2 volumes. I haven't seen Batman with Batman Inc. since the annual. And I would hope that at some point Batman does show up, even though we know it's good that the story is keeping in continuity, because we know that Ghostmaker tells them that, Bruce is in Atlantis. But yes, it's a good story. I'm enjoying what Brisson is doing thus far. I am interested to see what happens next. I really want him and El Gacho to go to blows, and just have it out one last time, one time, well, not one last time, but have it out one good time and get it over with. But I am also interested to see the backstory with the sidekick that was, I'm assuming, was left for dead by Ghostmaker, leading him to determine that there should be no more mentors and going after the people he feel are responsible for creating the person we know as Anton and Ghostmaker and all his other aliases.
Yeah, also a thumbs up for me. This is a gripping story. I really enjoy it. I also hope that Batman, shows up, but obviously Batman's not super available for a lot of stories right now. Unless you're going out of continuity, and this clearly is supposed to be in continuity.
And I am happy that even for those books that I'm not reading, it seems like the Batman writers room has been filled up again, and they're holding meetings, even if they're not regular meetings, because they are keeping things not necessarily tightly knit, but knit enough to know that we're all in the same ballpark.
Yeah, yeah.
I think the only one that's probably the farthest out there might be Detective, but that's by design.
Yeah. I mean, Detective and Batman have always been a little tricky to try and figure out how everything works together, and this has been the case forever. Like,
yeah, and again, the only reason why I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure that Detective is behind Batman is because of that first issue of the arc where Bruce tells Harvey that he knows that it's not Penguin that's behind what's going on in Gotham, which leads to us knowing this happens before Oswald faking his death.
yeah,
And
that makes
Batman.
sense. All
But
right.
yeah, good stuff. Good stuff in Batman Inc.
Yeah, for sure. I admit I was not super excited when I found out it was Bresson doing it, but when I read that annual, I was like, wow, he won me over. All right, that brings us to the end of our episode. We have gone through all the Greater Gotham. There are a bunch of titles that neither of us read, so that's why they're not here. If you want us to read them, let us know in listener feedback, and we'll actually probably try and read them and read your comments. I'd like to thank our patrons. If you support us on Patreon at a certain level, we read your names on the podcast to thank you. So that starts with thank you to Lisa Slack, Ian Miller, Gerald Green, Joshua Lappin-Bertoni, Rob O, Tim Garassi, Stephanie Mounts, Donovan Morgan Grant, Stanton's Grave, Donald Townsend, Ed Grouse, Captain America, Mary Garrett, Austin Davis, Johnny McCloskey, Cesar Diaz, Jessica Morales, David Richards, and Robert Lewis. Thank you all. You help us keep the podcast archives up and our ability to keep chit-chatting with each other every 2 weeks about Batman comics and hearing from you. That is it for this podcast. This has been Ian.
And this is Theo.
And again, all the best wishes towards Steph so she can get better and come and tell us when we're wrong or tell us when we're right next episode. Have a great night. We need to start the Cobra Kai podcast. So many podcasts, all the podcasts.
All the podcasts. Do an individual podcast for each character.
We'll do it for 3 years.
But let me tell you. Chosen was probably the best character in the last season. I mean,
he was a really awesome.
He just went from one end to the other. And when they were at the party and he's just pissy drunk. And I'm just
and then he leaves that drunken voicemail. That was amazing.
And then the whole mission with the eggs.
Oh, that was such good setup and payoff. I love that stuff.
Yes. And then how they finally were able to beat them. That's good.
And then he says, "It's just a flesh wound." And Daniel's like, "Yeah, over your whole flesh."
Yeah, that was man, and your boy who played Mike Barnes, he's really picked up weight. I mean, I know they're all older, and of course they would naturally be bigger, but he's buff.
I mean, he's on soap operas. Did you see? Like, he's done
Is he?
800 episodes of soap operas.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. After my grandmother died, I moved away from soap operas. My grandmother was a strictly CBS Young and the Restless, As the World Turns, Guiding Light woman. So,
Is this the grandmother who tanned your backside for voting for Jason Todd?
yes.
Yeah, I actually just watch like 5 minutes of soap operas when I'm working because I work in a nursing home, so people turn it on.
Right.
I've never sat down and watched a whole episode.
It's amazing how they've still survived. I mean, like, The Young and the Restless is still on.
I
The
mean,
Bold and the
they are
Beautiful is
cheap
still on.
and people like them. So
I couldn't tell you who the characters are now. I mean, I would assume folks like Jack and the crew are all still around, but I mean, these days, like I said, I can't tell you the last time I watched a soap opera on TV.